Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, a war of words has erupted between the state and federal governments as it's revealed $240 million headed our way to pay for the stadium will be clawed back. State Treasurer Michael Ferguson claims Tasmania's been abandoned, but others are pointing the finger squarely at him.
It's the dark side of the deal that won our AFL team.
The federal Labor government have abandoned Tasmania. The federal government has officially given up on our state.
The $240 million chipped in by the federal government for Macquarie Point will mean Tasmania gets a smaller share of the national GST pool.
We simply don't know the lost value. It's not able to be calculated in advance, but it is a detrimental outcome to Tasmania.
Jim Chalmers says similar projects, like the North Queensland Stadium, haven't been given a pass. The Brisbane Olympic infrastructure does because it's required for international competition.
When it comes to provision of essential services, health, education, roads, housing, all of that money, $240 million taken out of this state's capacity to deliver those essential services.
Confirmation of what was long expected.
Michael Ferguson's trying to rewrite history. He didn't ask for a GST exemption formally until he was asked about it in question time.
But I think this points to a fundamental incompetence when it comes to the capacity of this government to negotiate in the interests of Tasmanians.
Michael Ferguson today facing off with federal Labor MP Brian Mitchell.
You're wrong. Can I challenge you on that? It will change. We will get that exemption, but we'll now have to fight even harder for it. The gloves are off.
What we've just seen from the Deputy Premier is a masterclass in deflection. The fact is this is a Liberal state government that is drowning in debt.
Maintaining the rules have been fairly applied. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Shadow Treasurer Josh Willey says the government needs to take responsibility for increased business insolvencies. There were 66 in the past year, a 140% increase.
We need a government that is using the government budget capacity to support business, to support growth, to support jobs and workers.
I think we're all concerned about the write-down in economic growth nationally, and we want to do everything possible as a state Liberal government to support our vibrant micro and small to medium business sectors.
The Treasurer says NAB recently reported Tasmania has a nation's best small business confidence. Police are investigating a suspicious fire which tore through a unit in the state's north in the early hours of this morning. Emergency services were called to the flat in Trevellyn around 2 a.m. to find the home engulfed in flames. Fire investigators have spent the day examining the scene as they try to determine what sparked the blaze. Anyone with information is urged to contact police. We turn to breaking news now, and there are major delays on the Tasman Bridge in Hobart. A crash has happened in the city-bound lanes with multiple vehicles involved. Police are asking for motorists to exercise caution and patience while the scene is managed. Minor injuries have been reported. Right now in Hobart, hundreds of people are braving the cold, spending the night outside to raise awareness for those doing it tough. Reporter Lily Thompson is at the important fundraiser. Lily, what's the event all about?
Well, Kim, it's the third year Hobart City Mission has put on its Sleep Rough event, which sees over 300 Tasmanians sleep outside in near freezing temperatures. The event is about getting people to consider what it would be like to experience homelessness, with funds raised going towards vital support programs. Tonight, participants will be kept busy. A sense of camaraderie among the group is already building.
What we're hoping is that people will understand more about the difficulties people are experiencing in our community, but there are a lot of people doing it tough right now.
It's really nice seeing everybody sitting down together and really thinking about the experience that they're sharing as a collective.
Now temperatures are expected to drop below 4 degrees overnight, so those here are in for an extremely cold one, Kim.
But an important one. Thank you very much there, Lily. Construction cranes have been hard at work with a key section of the Launceston General Hospital's new helipad carefully brought in. The aero bridge linking the building's landing site with the specialist patient lift was dropped in and bolted into place, despite breezy conditions hampering efforts this morning.
little bit windy this morning, so as I said, the footage showed the bridge moving around a little bit, but they were able to get it in place.
Conditions in the Middle East are being blamed for a delay in delivering the patient lift. The helipad is expected to be up and running by September. They're rarely in the spotlight themselves, but Tasmanian camera operators have recorded some of our most important and tragic moments. A new exhibition paying tribute to the steady hands behind Australian cameras on global battlefields.
He's spent much of his life capturing the horrors of war, but as a cameraman, David Brill has rarely been given credit until now.
These people are the unsung heroes. There's somebody behind the camera you never hear of. And I think it's very important, something like this.
Making a name for himself in 1967, capturing Hobart's catastrophic bushfires, David often risked it all to get the shot. A famous photo shows the young Tasmanian almost being left behind on a Vietnamese battlefield.
It came in a couple of times, but it couldn't land because it was getting rocketed by the North Vietnamese and it would take off again.
His stories and work by other Tasmanians famous in their field now on display at QV Mag. Hobart-born photojournalist Neil Davis shot some of the most iconic vision of the Vietnam War.
We've brought his cameras back to Tassie, his diaries, his personal effects to bring that story back home.
It's the largest touring exhibition the Australian War Memorial has ever taken on the road, paying tribute to operators armed only with cameras on sometimes terrifying battlefields.
When we first decided to go on tour, the team said, we've got to get the show to Tassie, we've got to bring some of these stories back home.
Camera buffs and history fans can look behind the lenses of kit caught up in conflicts from around the world. Curators hoping to teach an important lesson.
We don't seem to learn, but there is a chance of at least explaining and remembering what happened.
The exhibition runs until August. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
The Hobart City Council has launched its first ever winter campaign, encouraging Tasmanians to embrace the crisp, cooler weather.
There's so much that individuals can do in our city during the winter months, and this year we have tried to curate various different things to do that are accessible, affordable and free activities.
Partnering with various charities across the state and aiming to generate more supplies for those in need during the winter months.
Being able to have access to places where people can go and feel safe and comfortable to access the items they need is really, really helpful.
Campaign features an exciting lineup of events and activities around the city from June through until August. The beers are flowing in Tasmania as Cascade marks 200 years. Australia's oldest operating brewery raising a glass to celebrate its bicentenary birthday.
A toast to 2 centuries, Cascade Brewery standing proud since 1824.
It's been a cornerstone of this community and an enduring symbol of heritage.
Built by Peter de Graves and Hugh McIntosh at the foothills of Kanani, Mount Wellington, the iconic brewery's creations standing the test of time. A cold cascade, a rite of passage for many Tasmanians.
The history of the building, the history of the brands, the location is absolutely special.
Hundreds gathering today for the special birthday, raising a glass to celebrate the country's oldest brewery and one of Tasmania's favourite drops.
I think perseverance, resilience and unity amongst the team to continue to brew outstanding beers here at Cascade.
Recognising generations of Tasmanians who've poured their heart and soul into the business.
A lot of the people that work here have been over 40 years experience working at Cascade. They've seen multiple changes as a business, but they're incredibly passionate about the business, the brands, and obviously seeing it last in the future.
The passion is still running deep for past brewers like Max.
I've brewed it 40 odd years.
And they'll continue to do so with one thing in mind.
Keep brewing some great beers.
Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7 Tasmania News.
A Senate inquiry into bank closures in regional communities has proposed a community-owned bank among its recommendations. North Queensland Independent MP Bob Catter is backing those calls, saying it could be run out of post offices.
We're moving to a cashless society, so the big boys and the banks, they will decide whether you buy a loaf of bread. They will decide whether you buy a loaf of bread.
They are prepared to look after their own profits
to the detriment of rural, regional and suburban Australians.
In the past 6 years, 50 of Tasmania's 140 bank outlets have closed. Tasmanian charity Dress for Success has issued an urgent plea for more volunteers as it expands operations across the state. The organisation helps give women the skills and confidence needed to gain employment and says demand for services is at an all-time high.
We're now supporting between 400 and 500 women every year through our core programs.
I get the opportunity to work with women from right across the state and help them get the tools and the clothing to be able to go forward through to interviews and seek employment.
Tasmanians with an eye for fashion are encouraged to donate their time. The pitter-patter of tiny hooves might be heard at Tasmania Zoo as early as next year with the arrival of a pair of plain zebra. Staff say it was love at first sight for 12-year-old Atriyu and 5-year-old Zia, who were part of a successful breeding program.
We were asked to set up a breeding herd here at Tasmania Zoo so that we can breed and then send to other zoos around the country.
Zebras usually take a little longer to get to know each other, but the couple has had no such troubles.
They've been really, really good in terms of everything from transport to introductions. They've been amazing.
The gestation period for the species is 1 year and 5 days.
To soccer, and the South Hobart women are looking for a home win as they host the Kingborough Lions. The visitors counting on the side's youngsters to bring the heat.
There's no point us just rallying the troops and having the exact same stay 11 each week. We want to have a process and give the younger ones an opportunity as well.
And in the men's, the Kingborough Lions want to put a halt to South Hobart's winning streak.
Yeah, that's sort of been what we've been focused on mainly, is to give ourselves chances to be in matches through increased defensive organisation capabilities and then go on from there.
The Lions have secured spots in the men's and women's Statewide Cup finals to be played on June 10.
Good evening. Hobart 2.5 degrees below average today with a score of 12. Launceston and Burnie 14 and Devonport's 15 was the warmest today, also recorded on Flinders Island. Most temperatures below the May average. King Island, Smithton and Lowhead 14, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Bushy Park 13, Strawn a top of 12 and Lyawini 5 degrees today. The north mostly clear of cloud as cloud thickened elsewhere. To 9 a.m. the best 24-hour rainfall reading was 27 millimetres at Eddystone Point, but no real falls of significance today. Thick cloud also spotted over Victoria and the east coast of the nation, high cloud over the southeastern states and southwest WA. Tomorrow a trough is just off the southern New South Wales coast with another over southern WA, split by that large high. East to northeast winds at 10 to 20 knots over the north, lighter and more variable winds over the rest of the coastline for Saturday and also lighter winds over the inland lakes. There it is, a frost warning that's been issued for the Midlands with a very cold start predicted tomorrow. Hobart for Saturday, 5 overnight, 13 the top and partly cloudy. 2 to 12 at Maydena, 11 the high for Oatlands, a morning frost. Launceston, a high of 15 degrees after a cold start, mostly sunny for Devonport, 15 the top, -3 for Lyawini, a high of 9 later in the day. Saturday for Burnie, partly cloudy and 14, 15 the top for Strawn and Marrawar, all clear as well. And along the east coast, mostly sunny, St Helens 13, 13 for Swansea, Orford, a top of 14 degrees. On Sunday, inland morning fog and frost, followed by a fine day, apart from a shower over the northwest. Showers clearing the west on Monday as plenty of sunshine develops over the state. And on Tuesday, another fine day, although partly cloudy, a 50% chance of a shower for Strawn. Showers easing from Perth tomorrow, sunny and 21 for Adelaide, partly cloudy in Melbourne, Canberra and Sydney, but a few showers for Brisbane and 23 there. Cloudy in Hobart, 9 currently, 11 degrees right now in Launceston and 10 degrees in Devonport. Feeling pretty good tonight, Kim. Here we are on a Friday night. I've got the whole weekend ahead without having to worry about my football team losing.
Oh, so smug. Oh, the Swans. Louise will be with you over the weekend. Thanks for your company this week. Good night, everyone.